Thank you, Thomas. Oh, what is your name?
Thomas Woodham.
Where are you from?
I'm from Alabama.
What were you doing before you got here?
I was working at a university, and I was a program coordinator for Chinese J1 students. So year one, I was going to China and recruiting people and doing all kinds of cool stuff. In years 2, 3, and 4, I was copying and pasting stuff into Excel for 8 hours a day.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, thrilling.
Why'd you come to Glacier?
I came here in 2018. It was the best summer of my whole life, and I was absolutely fucking miserable at home, and I had just had enough of an office space life and an office space job and an office space location, and I was getting ready to move to New Zealand, which I'm doing in September, and I was like, you know what, bump this. I'm gonna go to, with the time remaining, I'm just gonna go to Glacier and then come back for a couple of weeks and go to New Zealand.
Cool. Would you do this again?
I don't know if I'll have the availability to do it again, but I would like to.
All right. Tell me about a story about your time here.
Just any story?
Any story.
This season?
Yeah, this season.
I don't know. The first thing that comes to mind is like one of the first weekends that I had. I just kind of came out here. I was wearing like my normal Hawaiian shirt and linen pants and stuff like that, and I guess I just kind of have like a natural energy that I kind of carry with me, I guess. And like I was walking around and people were just like, wow, you're awesome or whatever, and I just came out here and was just skipping rocks for like a couple of hours, which is one of my favorite things to do. And I came back and I saw Joey in the EDR, and she was like, "Hey Thomas, how's your day?" Just making small chit chat. And I was like, "It's one of the best days I've had in a couple of years." And she was like, "Whoa, really? What did you do?" And I was like, I just skipped rocks at the lake." And she just like couldn't understand that. She was like, "Wait, like you were just like skipping rocks?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "And that was like the best day you've had in like a few years?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Wow, she just couldn't understand it, but you understand it, and other people that I've been out here with get it." To me that just kind of sums up what this place is like. You can do extraordinary and memorable things, in other times and other places, especially at home. It's much easier to do extraordinary things, but here the place itself is extraordinary. So when you do simple things, they're all very meaningful and memorable, and it doesn't take a lot to feel good here, and I think we're all looking for that.
I think you're right. What kind of advice would you give to people that might think about coming out here?
Just do it. Like, I know that's like the Shia LaBeouf, do it, or whatever, but the just don't hold yourself back from a life that you don't know that you could live. Throw away some of your stuff, sell some of your stuff, quit your job, come out here, figure some things out, figure out who you are, who you want to be, what kind of life you want to live. You'll take lessons from here that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. Just do it.
So kind of going along with that, how does this place inspire you?
The first time I was here in 2018 after college, it kind of like peaked like my college experience, which kept getting better and better as it went along. And it was amazing, and it inspired me in kind of a grand way, because I mean, it's like I'm sitting here looking at Red Eagle, which is like 6,000-8,000 feet or something like that, and it's really at that time it was humbling and inspiring to see something so big, and it's just like my everyday, like I just walk out the door and that's the first thing I see, and to see such a beautiful and varied landscape with a wealth of biodiversity and natural beauty. It was all very overwhelmingly beautiful. But this season, 4 or 5 years later, I'm much more in tune with the simple things. which I think is indicative of some changes that I've made in my life and in my mental health. And I feel much more in tune with just the small things, like the other day we were hanging out in the hammocks over here in the trees, and that was a great day anyway, like just hanging out with you. But one of my favorite things was just kind of looking up and like the layers of leaves and whatever these trees are were above me, and the light was kind of peeking through them at different times, and that was just I cried a little bit. Like it was those little things are much more meaningful to me now.
That's cool.
And that's kind of what inspires me this time around.
That's really cool. That's cool, like the difference, going
Yeah.
from the first year to this year.
Yeah.
What's been your biggest surprise, like, about this season?
I think the biggest surprise for me, honestly, is that like everybody here is really, really good. Like our whole location, like except for 2 or 3 people, like everybody's really good. That's so rare at these kinds of places. Like usually 70% of the people are awesome, 20% are kind of and then the rest are not that great. But it's so rare that like 98% of the people here are awesome, like really, really good people, and that we all get along really well, and we can, this season, the age differences are a little weird. Usually it's varied quite a lot. I mean, it's pretty evenly distributed among age ranges, but this year it's like mostly 20-year-olds, and then like a handful of 27s, 28s, 30s, and a handful of 40 plus, and the maturities usually would vary greatly, and they kind of do, but everybody just gets along and makes it work, and for a lot of people here, it's their first season, because they're, 20 years old, and they just kind of understood it from the beginning, like, oh, it's just us, it's just this place, it's just this time, we got to put the bullshit aside and just make things work and have a good time together. That surprised me a lot. Like, we just have a really good group here.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's been amazing. What's been your biggest challenge this year?
In the past couple of years, I'm sick.
Thank you.
in the past couple of years, I went to therapy regularly and untangled a lot of knots and resolved a lot of trauma and stuff that I went through growing up. And I was reading a lot of philosophy and studying a lot of things about just letting go and being spontaneous and, giving myself the capacity and the availability to just be myself no matter what, and just do whatever feels right, whatever feels natural in the moment. And I was reading that and I understood it in my mind, but actually like giving all those things a test run here has been a challenge, because it was like all the little habits that you have with trauma, like it's like a jail, like they prevent you from doing things and from feeling and experiencing things, and actually being like, you know what, I can feel like shit, I can be held back and inhibited by those things anywhere else at any time in my life, but I can't always be here with these people right now. This is only going to be this time, that all of these things are happening, like the water's flowing this way and this plant is over here. This is the only time that these things are ever going to all happen together at the same time. So I'm going to let go now. And it's been a challenge, but it's been the best kind of challenge.
That's cool. Would you change anything?
I probably would have driven up just so I could have some weed.
Okay.
That's about it. Everything else is great. Driven, whatever.
Driven. So, what about your relationships that you formed this year?
I feel like before I had like moderately deep friendships with several people and slightly less deep friendships with a lot of people, and then I got very, very close to 1 or 2 people after the season ended, whereas this year I feel like I'm really, really close to 1 or 2. I mean, you and like Jill or whoever else, and I'm at least amicable with everybody else. And to me, even though it's different from how I was in the past, it's much more meaningful to put effort into one thing rather than have fun with a lot of things. To
Mm-hmm.
really care for and maintain and trust a relationship with one person rather than just flitting around and doing whatever with whoever.
Flitting. You're a flitter. How has this experience changed you?
I think the biggest thing is like, I for the past few years of my life, I was just thinking like, man, I wish I could be free. I wish I could be free from the trauma. I wish I could be free from the shithole that I live in, the shithole job and the shithole people, and be free from obligations to be a certain way, to be a certain way at work or wherever else. And I think like every day in my journal, I've written like, I'm free. It's like the last thing I write, like on every page. So yeah, I'm free this season. The beginning of being free.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Thomas.
Yeah.